like to think about my kids smiling, having a fun time at the beach. That instantly changes the mood into a positive one. So that's kind of a mindset tip for the morning. It is at any time throughout the day, you can actually just close your eyes and imagine, kids laughing, smiling, yourself as a kid having fun, and you will see that it will instantly change the attitude and the mood that you're currently in, right, for the better. But one of the things that I'm going to share today on a mindset is, time. And it's never a good time. It's always a good time to be positive and have a good attitude. But when it comes to the market, um, one of the things that let me share my screen real quick. One of the things that um, I was experiencing yesterday is, we were looking at certain times at 8:12. We were waiting for the market to move. 8:15 or 8:12, we were looking for the market to move. 7:42. Certain times of the day where you have institutional movement and timing the market. Times to come into the market. Swing trading, day trading. Recognizing the time. And that also is a reminder that in life, we go through certain seasons, we go through certain patterns, and being aware of timing, times to push, times to pull back. One of the things I do personally, right? I have push and pull days, and these are days that I wake up early and I push through the day, and then there's other days that I pull myself out of the bed. All right, a Tuesday morning, I like to say it's a pull day. I want to pull myself out of the bed, but Sunday night is a push day, and you can schedule that yourself. I'm gonna share one of the stub stacks that I actually uh, put out yesterday, and it was just a stub stack on why traders enter the market and what do they miss. Uh, at certain times before I go over the institutional blueprint that I actually added. So I always like to give you guys, if I'm doing anything new or sharing, I always like to provide, some of the additional information. And so, one of the things I talked about in that timing Substack is that most traders are not losing because they cannot find the stocks, right? They cannot find something to buy, right? A lot of times we take losses, um, because we mismanage the time or we do not understand when liquidity is active, when the algorithms are aligned, and when the market is most likely to produce clean continuation. The timing of the market, no one can time it perfectly, but having expectations. And the same thing of, in our mindset, I was super extremely busy, right? And so recognizing the time that, hey, I'm overwhelmed, not looking at the life clock. Sometimes we don't look at the market clock, but sometimes we got to look at our own clock. And so this blueprint that we put together is kind of a repeatable market times. Like every day, there's 24 hours in a day, and throughout the year, right? You have your kids when they're home. You have a certain part of the year, you're going to be overwhelmed with appointments, birthdays, doctor's appointments, whatever it is, you get busy. And so, looking at the market timing, right, is also times of the market is busy or times of the market is, um, you know, uh, more active than others, right? We are actually today going in FMOC, which is Fed meetings where they're deciding to raise rates or lower rates, overall, and that actually throws uh, different scenarios in the market. So the blueprint of institutional timing, right? It will change when there's such a big events. I think FMOC only happens like 4 times a year, right? Quarterly, they discuss if they're going to raise rates or not. And so that's also a repeatable process every year. Right? You're going to have multiple FOMC meetings. And, I wanted to share a Confluence framework, things that you look for in the market that when they are aligned, it gives you opportunities to buy and sell. But some people don't understand the Confluence. The same thing, there's certain opportunities that, we have throughout the year that it is aligned for us to trade, and sometimes we're overwhelmed, and the best is stay out. So we don't trade every signal, right? We start trading the time and the institutional that when it matters, when it's aligned for us. So we don't just trade the clock alone; we trade the confirmation that appears inside the clock window, right? The same way that there's certain times where we can um, address life and be a take care of the family and still trade. And there's certain times that you're going to be overwhelmed, and so high value windows and the DCG timing windows, right, was kind of like a little brief overview of uh, you know acknowledging when is the different times in the market, right? What is pre-market, early pre-market? There's certain times in the market where there's extremely thin liquidity and the wide spreads, and you're supposed to be observing. One of those times is 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning for myself. Right, I can actually I review and I pull up the chart. If I'm looking at ES, um, I can come down to the 5 minute and I'll look at the time at 3 o'clock and see, um, if I'm getting a bearish or bullish activity during the thin liquidity times. Right, it's 2:55. It's 2 to 3:30 in the morning. I see that it was selling. I had this line here, so 74.85. That's gonna be one time in the morning that we know that we had selling pressure, right? And then the same time here is 740. So I know those levels, 740 and 74.85, are levels that the market was showing selling pressure. And so these different times, pre-market preparation, overnight narratives and levels, that's building the plan. Um, Basis bias formations. So I look for news and formation of what's happening in the market. And so just pulling up like a Twitter or our Discord, and taking some of the market news, we actually determine what's happening in the market, what is the bias, right? We know we have FOMC, but we also had activity happen throughout the morning. So I can take a period to actually find out, all right, what's the theme, what is the news for the morning. So for pre-market news, going through these times. So you take a couple of posts, and this is, the institutional timing. This is when news has been positioned, bias is formatting. Right now, we have a selling bias. Opening auction is the, imbalances and flow, right? Observing and don't chase what's happening in the first 15 minutes. So you can actually see where the imbalance and how the market and the trades are opening for the first 15 minutes. And then you have first confirmation window. These are the windows where institutions um, starts to confirm setups. And the time at, we hop on, our call, right? One of the checkpoints is 742. And this is when we have program buying or selling, right? And this is the highest time to focus on execution. And then we had a final confirmation in that period at 812, right? Churn, acceptance, or exhaustion. So we will see a lot of times that either that a confirmation on selling or a confirmation of buying, and these are the two times that we're live, right? Or I'm live in the morning, and these are high focus times to get us in the trend. And then we have a midday chop and false signal zone where this is a time where we set our stops and we can let the market play out. And then at the afternoon, you have institutions reposition based on what has happened. This is what we're going to see today with FOMC, right? After um, the FOMC and the meetings, you have the rebuild of the watch list, and you have the reposition, and then you have the rebalancing and trend continuation, whether it's shorter or long from the FOMC. So this is a daily timing window, but with FOMC, these actually matter more, and especially this institution reposition after FOMC today. All right, and so you can use this criteria, and I'm actually going to share this document. Let me post it right now, so this way people can have it and save it. Actually, let me so my bad. I thought I already had it printed. So this timing window, right? This checklist, right? These are checkpoints that you can make at these certain times throughout the day. So on top of, um, trading the market or even coming in and asking yourself these checkpoints during the day. 7:42 Pacific Standard. Which also could be 10:42 Eastern, right? So by that time, the opening range has formed, right? And it's proven itself. A program flow will show what the market is doing. ES, NQ, QQQs, it should support the direction, right? And then the ticker, is it above VWAP for longs or below VWAP? And so I think one of the things that Mike and Brandon, we all have. I'm actually gonna open up this scanner. This is a scanner that basically here's the VWAP, and I'm just gonna look at this chart and say, am I above or below? All right, and so right now we are below VWAP. That's one of the checks. I have a bearish signal, on that, and I had a gate, right? I have it mostly by short. So that supports direction. Right now we have, um, just right now, but at 7:42, I will confirm where we at. Are we above or below? And then sector ETF or whatever we're trading, is the sector ETF above or below. So if you're trading, um, you know, something in particular, I have a watch list, and that watch list, gives me the different sectors. I'm gonna look at that sector ETF and see if it's above or below. And then volume, is it increasing or decreasing, right? And some of the candlesticks on my chart will be able to let me know, on a candlestick direction, right? Right now we have selling. I have low volume. I had a volume here that's on the sell side. So I can tell that the volume just right now is on the short side, right? And then does the move has a defined invalidation level. So if we have a support, if we are breaking out above 74.90, all right, we're breaking down below 74.40. That is a defined level that we've already defined. Pre-market 74.40, and 74.90 are tops and bottoms. So I can, confirm that information at 7:42, right? And for a stock, is it already vertically extended, et cetera? right? And this is the observation of what we should know by 7:42. And the second checkpoint is 30 minutes later, right? Uh, had an earlier move held. If a higher low has formed, have we hitting another high by 8:12, or are we hitting a low, right? Is it VWAP? Are we still above the VWAP, or are we below it? And so if you're watching, one stock or something particular, right, which I'm going to be able to identify these particular levels. All right, so I'm above VWAP, I'm above the levels. It still is held. I may give myself this level here, 105.87, and then you have this 109, and then I'm going to also revisit it during that time. Right, during the during the time. All right, 24 hours. We're 20. So the VWAP is still here, still above. And you have your resistance, and these are levels. Right. So at 8:12, these checkpoints still remain, and it's something we're going to go over the call today. All right. One of the confluences on the timing, right? The 5-layer confluence model, how you can grade, the trades that you're looking at. If you trade individual stocks, does the market, right? Is ES going up when the things that you're trading is going up? Is a sector line? So if I'm trading, just say ABTE, I know that healthcare is so XLV. So I'm gonna look at that and says, oh, this is still trending up, even pre-market. The health select is still trending up, so that healthcare, it aligns, right? And then the asset, is it clearing validation trigger, right? Participation, does it have biome? And then momentum, there's multiple time frames. Is it hitting on a 23-minute? Is it hitting on a 2 hour? Right? Is it hitting on a 1 day? Right, which the healthcare sector is, which I look at this ABT, this is the trade I'm looking at just for uh, purposes. 23-minute, we still had a trend. 2 hour, still had a trend. And 1 day, right? It's all aligned on all the time frames. So that lets me know that this is still a hold and a buy during this area. And then at 7:42, 8:12, I want to ask myself, is it still confirmed? And if I have a 5 checked off, that's an A quality trade. 4.5 if strong quality, if only these 4 out of 5, right? Or 4 out of 5, 4 out of 6, based on this here, it's 4 out of 5. You get a 5-layer confluence, and if you only hit 3 out of 5 or zero out of 2, or 2 out of less than 2, less than 3, it's a no trade. Right? The tape is telling you an answer. Coordinate buying, right? Versus the false move. Institutions are working. When you see ES reclaim support, sectors, tick improves. We're looking for the tick volume. So, in the alerts in the Discord, we have the tick volume that's moving, right? Tick above 800, right? That lets you know that the tick volume is working, right? Overnight, you see total market decreasing for crypto. You got BTC shorts, and then when we go look at BTC, that will let us know that you have even coordinated selling. So we talk about coordinated buying, but we have the opposite of everything here. You'll have coordinated selling as well. And a false move, one ticker moves while its sectors fall, right? Volume declines into breakout, right? ES or QA is rejecting, right? That will be considered a false move in the entire market. So when we want to say if institutions are buying, right, we're looking at the timing window, index confirmation, sector confirmation, asset trigger, volume expansion, define a validation, And then that's an institutional quality entry, right? When you see that the entire sector is aligning on a timing, right? And that is, now you know that institutions are buying because this is how you can confirm it, right? And you have these windows that you're looking at, right? And just as an example, the 742 and 812 windows are some of the windows that we are looking for confirmation that institutions are buying or selling. All right. And now you have, um, an entry formula, right? And that is part of the institutional timing. I had another, um, in the next 5 minutes, I had another mindset. I was deciding which one I wanted to share. All right, do I want to talk about the timing, the market timing, because we had FOMC just to make sure that people are aligned and understand what time it is today. I wanted to throw that out there so we had you can confirm on institutions, on trends, and some of the things that we'll be looking at on our call today. We may not be taking many trades, but we will be confirming institutional buying or selling during that time. And so, I wanted to create this mindset enhancement because it is a mindset call, and I thought about that life isn't happening to you; it's responding to how you see it. Right, your thoughts, your habits, your actions form a pattern, and the pattern is your truth. Right, so the things you think about and the habits that you're creating and the actions, right, that becomes your truth and the patterns that you're showing the world, and then the world answers the truth. So if you are like looking for negative things and you're looking for um, your perspective on things, right? That becomes a truth because the world will respond and show you those signals, right? If you change your pattern of your thoughts, and I'm expecting good things to happen, I'm expecting to create things, create opportunities, right? And the world also answers that truth, right? And so you change your pattern, and the response changes with it. And that was just a um, thing, I kind of wanted to share because I had a conversation with one of the members, and they were like, man, this is bad and that's bad, and it was like, you know, you're looking for a lot of the negative things, and it becomes the truth, right? Nobody is stopping us. Nobody is, coming to our door and preventing us from getting money, getting good health, right? You may have obstacles, but if you're telling yourself, hey, I'm going to get it and I'm going to have it, and, the world wants to help me, right? And there's signs. So, life responding to you does not mean the world bends to your feelings, right? It actually, um, you know, talked about, family doesn't lose food assistance because the belief was weak, right? Some things you don't call in, but the compounding of that thoughts, right? The compounding of, man, this shit is overwhelming. I get more and more, right? The compounding thoughts, you know, actually brings in more. And so sometimes you have to notice the patterns that we're running. The same way that, we do certain things in a certain time of the year, we have certain feelings and attitudes, and it's a cycle, right? And the market doesn't know our name, it's not doing anything negative towards us, right? But it does play on our habits and our, mindset, right? And the truth is we all have the opportunity to change. And, recognizing the time and recognizing the change and recognizing life is just given life and our perspective of it and when it will stop. I think every hard time, you have a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not gonna last forever. And so I expect to go through things, right? I expect to have these challenges, and I've never seen a challenge that was too big that we couldn't get through, right? And that is a revelation of how I see life, right? And when it comes to the market, right, the market doesn't get bad. Money just move, right? And those are the things that of how we see it, right? The market didn't get bad over June and July. It just changed, and you didn't recognize where the money is moving. right? And so, I had this little mindset briefing of things that's happened in the market, right, in the last week or two, and it explains what happened, right? Investors wrote it out of high profit chip makers into economic sensitive industries. Dow is actually up 1%, equal to XP at record highs, while Nasdaq near correction. Right? Rotation is not destruction; it's redistribution. Money got up and walked to a different room, while a lot of people were still sitting in the old room. Right? And then they call it a crash, and the money just moved over. So it's a funny way to reframe things and look at things, right? Because someone said, "Oh man, the market was terrible this month," et cetera. It's like, really, the market, the money just moved to a different area, and you stayed in the same room, right? And so, me moving to healthcare or moving to defensive stocks, right? It's me moving out the room and following where the money is going, right? Redistribution only pays the prepared, right? And then what we noticed this month or this week, doing earnings, is we've seen companies report revenue up, profit up, and the stock still went down. Right? We had Seoul crashing, 190 trillion in market cap. Right? Investors didn't doubt the results. Stocks had results. They just doubted whether it repeats. And they didn't believe it was going to repeat, so they still put money out, even after good earnings. So this is a way to, take a reality out of the market, right? Nobody building a life around your one good month. The world prices your repeatability, right? If you survived a bad time and you going through a moment, with the market, what the world is pricing in is, are you able to do it again, right? I tend to believe that everybody here that's going through anything, right? If you've had most of your life good, you're able to repeat that. You're able to recover again, right? That is a reality that, to me, I believe, right? And so a lot of, money in the market has gone out of things like semiconductors, et cetera, because they don't believe they can repeat the level of profitability that they've had in the last 12 months, right? And that is what's really happening in the market, right? The repricing, redistribution. So even here on this document, I'm gonna print this out because I'm gonna give everybody the morning back, something you can read, because I actually may go back through this, but it actually goes through each part of the market and let us know that um, the things that happen in the market, it's a belief that's changing, right? It's not it's a truth that's happening in the market that we just have to be aware of, right? And that is, talk about oil, right? The worst 3 day stretch since the ceasefire, right? And this is oil jumping, right? But that's just because of news, right? The Fed doesn't owe you a direction. Today, the Fed doesn't have to do, right, what we think. And that is, uncertainty is not a malfunction, it's a permanent condition, right? Professionals don't wait for clarity, a position so being wrong is survivable, right? And so we supposed to survive the Fed meeting. We don't have to, say that, oh, it's supposed to do X, Y, Z. We supposed to just position so we can survive a wrong situation, right? And cut your size half into announcement. Each one of these are different mindsets evolved around the market. With that being said, I want to give you guys your time back, your morning. Timing is important. And, today be safe with the time, right? Be aware of the time, and, the institutions and the Fed meetings are always a big day in trading. Um, and we will get signals and confirmation, and you can actually start going through that now. All right. So on that, a sunny day, it does come back, Mr. Barry Parker, for all of us. It don't last forever, and even your health, man. Glad to see you you know, up above ground. Because that means you still have an opportunity. And that's for all of us. Every day we wake up, we have another opportunity. Peace out. I'll talk to you guys in the chats. All right, later.